Hello all. In the last video, we have discussed about the pandas, how to start with the pandas, how to create series and also data frame. So let us now move into the intermediate level, intermediate concept of understanding pandas in depth. Say for example, I have a data set in the form of CSV or Excel. In such case, how can I work with the pandas? So as usual, we have to import pandas. So I'm importing pandas as PD. That is the first step. Then the next one, I have to give a name. I'm just assigning df equal to panda short form is PD dot read underscore CSV. So why CSV? Because the file that I'm using is CSV. So I'm writing CSV here. The dataset name is iris. So I'm writing like iris dot data, right? This is my dataset name. So you may be thinking, where can I get this data from? So whichever Excel file or CSV file that you have in your hand, you can work with the help of that data set. So in case if my uh, data is in the form of Excel, instead of CSV, I can write EXCEL, right? So mine is CSV, so I'm writing pd.read underscore CSV. So I want to see how my data set is looking like. So I want to display the top 5 rows. So if you look into this, you can see this is basically a very popular data set, iris data set. It's basically about sepal length, sepal width, petal width, and what is the name of the species. But if you see this data set, there is no column name, right? So whenever you handle any data set in the industry, we cannot expect the data set to be clean. Most of the times, the column names may be wrong, or the column names may be in short form, or the column names may be missing. So we should know how to handle it, right? So what I'm doing, let me show you. In case if I'm writing header is equal to none, what is happening? Now the first, before that, if you see, this has become the column names, right? So now this is changed to 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. But actually, I want to give the column names here. So let me see how I can do with that, right? So what I'm going to give now, I can pass a list here, like whatever name I want to give. So 0 is basically sepal length. So I'm writing sepal dot length. So how you want to, whatever column name you want to give, you can give that. And then the next one is like a sepal width, petal length. And the next one is like a petal width. So the last one, there is species, right? So that I'm writing it like a species, right? So I have to define it. And then now I need to pass this columns inside this so that the column names would be changing, right? So in case if you get any doubt here, you can press Shift plus Tab. So it would be opening the help box. You can see whether there is anything related to this. You can see about the header, and also you can see the other important parameters, right? Delimiter, header, names, everything you can see. So what I'm doing, I'm writing like a names is equal to, here I named it like a column. So I'm just going to put it over here. Let's see whether it is working or not. Yes, it is working. So now you can see that sepal dot length, sepal dot width, petal dot length, petal dot width, and then species. This is looking fine, right? So when you write df.head parenthesis without any number, it would be displaying the top 5 rows in your data set. Say I want to see the first 10 observations. So what can I do? I can just write 10. so that you can see the index from 0 to 9, which means 10 observations. If you write like 100, 0 to 99, you would be able to see, right? So when you write df dot head, it would be showing the top observations. So in case if I want to see the last 5 observations, I can write like df dot tail. So 145 to 149. So in case if I want to see the last 10 observations, what I am supposed to write here? Exactly. So df dot tail, here you can write 10 so that you can get the last 10 observations. Now, in case no, I do not want to see that in order. Instead of that, I want to see a random data. So what I can write, I can try with df dot sample so that you can see it is randomly showing one of the observation from my data set. Say this time it is showing 46. Once when I run again, this time it is showing 94. Let me run this one again so I can show you. It keep on changing, right? So in case if I am writing 10 here, you can see that randomly it would be showing 10 observations, right? So again, if you rerun it, again the observations would be randomly changing. So now if I want to know how many rows and how many columns are there in my data set, I can write like df dot shape. Remember, for shape, there is no parenthesis, right? So there are 150 rows and 5 columns in my data set, right? Fine. So this is about shape. In case if I want to know the column names, I can write like df dot columns. So you can see all the column names in the from the data set, right? So these are the columns that we have in our data set. In case if I am writing df dot info, you can see all the column names along with how many non-null values in our data set. So roughly we have seen, already we have seen here 150 observations are there. Here if you see that there are no missing values because in all the cases you can see like 150 observations. And you can see that all are float and only species is object. So let's confirm. Yeah, you can see that all these are float data type and the uh, species is the object data type, right? I hope this is clear. So this is for df.info. In case if I want to see only the data types, you can write like a df.dtypes. When you run this code, you can just see the data types here. Now, if you look into this, they are showing, but sometimes if I have missing values in my data set, it may not be giving me the right picture. Say, for example, it is showing there are 2 missing values in your data set, and it is showing like 148, which means that 2 missing observations in the sepal length, right? That is what it means. I'm saying an example. If 2 observations are missing in this, it would be displaying like 148, right? But in our data set, there are no missing values. So how can I get to know the missing values? df dot is null. When you write df dot is null, it would be displaying false, 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 which means that there are no missing values. If you see true somewhere, which means that there are missing values in your data set. But this may not be giving the right inference. So just I want to sum it. So you can see that the missing values are 0. What does that mean? Basically, there are no missing values in my data set, right? In case if you want to know about the type of this DF, you can write that. You can see that this is data frame because there are many rows and many columns. Already we have discussed what is data frame, right? So I hope this is understandable to everyone, right? So now we know how to look at the column names, how to get the shape, how to get the data types, everything. I'll show you the most important concept here. When I write df.descript, see the beauty of pandas. It is actually displaying the count, mean, standard deviation, minimum value, first quartile, second quartile, third quartile, and maximum of all the attributes, numerical attributes. If you have any questions, what is first quartile, second quartile, third quartile, standard deviation, mean, everything, you can just go and look into the video of statistics that already I have uploaded. And but in case if you think that why I'm not getting for the object data type, I want to know about that also, then I can write like include is equal to all. So once I write that, you can see even for the categorical attribute I'm getting. So what does this mean? There are 150 observations and there are 3 unique species in our data set. Out of that, the maximum, that is basically Modus iris setosa. What does that mean? Iris setosa is the maximum occurring species in my data set, right? Why these are showing none? Because we cannot find out mean or standard deviation, minimum, nothing for the categorical data, right? So that is the most important inference that we have already discussed in the statistics session. So in case if I am writing like df dot index, you can see that start equal to 0, stop equal to 150, which means that already we have discussed there are 150 observations in my data set. So once we do that, I want to change the column name. How can I do that? So I can write like df dot columns equal to might be I can okay. So this time I'm writing instead of dot, I'm writing like sepal underscore length, comma sepal underscore width, comma petal underscore length, comma petal underscore width. Right? And then the last one, species I'm keeping as such. If you want to change the name, okay, species underscore name, that is perfectly up to you. So let me write now. Can you see that now? Actually, the the attribute names, the column names, or the feature name is actually changed. So we can write like df dot columns equal to, we would be able to change it, right? In case if I want to see only specific column, right? So what I can do, say for example, I want to see only the sepal length, right? Sepal underscore length. So you can see that I would also be able to get only the selected attribute, right? So you can write df dot the attribute name, or there is also another way, like you can write it this way too. Sorry. So you can try with this way, right? So both would be working, right? Both are fine. So now in case I want to get multiple columns, I want to see sepal length and also sepal width. So how does this work? So when you do this, this would be throwing an error saying that the key error, sepal length and sepal width. So what I'm supposed to do, so you add another bracket here. So let me see now, you can see that the multiple columns. So in case if you want to add also like a species underscore name, right? So let me see whether it is working or not. Yes, it is working perfectly, right? So this is how we can actually change this too, right? So if you want to select multiple columns or one specific column also, we can actually take from that, right? So this is also another beauty of this pandas, right? Or like sometimes it would be required, right? We are handling a data set. There could be some columns which is not really required, right? Which is not really required. So what can we do? Either we can drop it or we can retrieve only the selected columns. Because if you want to select only specific columns, you want to know about the statistics of that particular data, you can go ahead with this method. This would be working fine, right? So this is how you can handle any Excel data or CSV file, right? So to understand it better, what we will do now, we will try to work with some other data frames also, right? So to get more clarity about it. So I'm writing df is equal to pd dot, if I want to create data, right? If I want to create data, two options, pd.series unidimensional, pd.dataframe for multidimensional. So I'm trying to create multidimensional. So I'm writing pd.dataframe. I can do it with the help of dictionary or with the help of list. So what I'm going to do now, let me try to create this now. First, I'm actually passing the column names. What all column names I want to pass here? Say name, and then I want to give like age, and then I want to give sex, right? And then, okay, so this is the column name, right? So these are the column names I want to give, and then let me pass another list now. So what is the name I want to give here? Maybe Lata, and then I'm giving like something like 26, and then let me write like a female, right? And then let me create another one, right? So now let me write some other name now. Could be Prema, and then let me write like 30, and then let me write like a female again, right? So just I'm adding two observations. If I want to add more also, I can do it. Let me run it. Yes, it is working. Right? So this is how it is looking like. So I have created a column name now, right? So this is one way, right? So I'm passing all the column names, right? I'm passing all the column names. Then I'm passing row by row, right? I'm passing row by row. This is one way. Or else what I can do, the same thing what I can do, pd dot data frame, and then I can write like, fine, I can put this over here, maybe this one, right? So this let me write, and then I will also put this over here. So there could be multiple ways, just I'm showing it, that's it, right? So whichever you are comfortable with, you can go ahead with that. And then I'm also writing columns equal to, now I need to pass the column name to, right? So let me put this over here. Right? So let me see. There could be an error. Let me see. Right? Okay. So let me put this as dear. You can see that somewhere I have made a mistake. Columns equal to, right? So here you can see an error. Okay. Right? So columns equal to name, age. Okay. So let me remove this one. Let me see whether it is working or not. Yes. Sorry. Okay, fine. So now let me run this. Yes, it is working fine, right? So we know how to create observations also. Sometimes we can create a small data set and we can work on that, right? There it could be helpful to us. Say, for example, now I want to add index, right? So df dot index equal to, so what I'm doing here, let me write like name 1, comma, name 2, right? So let me write and see whether it is working or not. So now you can see that I have also given names for my rows, name 1 and also name 2, right? So now if I write df dot index, you can see that name 1 comma name 2 and data type is equal to object, right? So I could actually do it very well. with the help of index, right? So now in case if I want to change the row name, right? So what I'm doing now, df dot, I can write like a rename, right? Rename. And then I want to change the index. So index is equal to, so what I want to change here, for example, name one, I want to change it to, say maybe this is a string, right? Okay, so this I want to change it to, for example, name underscore one, right? So let me see whether this is working. So you can see that it is changed to name underscore one, right? So I can also make a change here, right? So this is working fine. So now in case if I'm writing df, you can see that again it is changed to name one. Can you see that? Again it is changed back. So to avoid that, what I am supposed to do, I need to write in place equal to true, so that it will make change in the original data frame. So now if I run also, it is working fine, right? There won't be any change now. So likewise, if I also want to change name here, right? So name to, for example, I want to change to this one. You can see that it is changed to name underscore two, right? So this is a way we can actually make the change. So in case if I want to change df dot rename, say columns, I want to change the name, right? So columns, in the columns, I have like a name, right? So what I want to change now, for example, I'm writing name, right? I want to change this to names, maybe, right? Just I'm showing it, that's it. So I want to change it to names. What is very important? In place equal to true. So let me run this now. You can see that. Okay, so what is the mistake? It should be capital N. Now this will work actually. Yeah. So name, I have changed it to names, right? So you can see the changes here. Perfect. Yes. Okay. So let us now create another data frame now. Maybe something else I will take now. Maybe the scores I'm taking. So let me take some marks now, right? So what I'm taking mathematics mark, okay? I'm just passing a list of marks, 78, 45, 71, okay? Let me add some other subject now. Might be English, let it be. And then let me write 34, 89, 96, right? And then let me write 49, 56, 87, right? So let me run this now. So this is how my data set is looking like, right? So now this one, I want to change it into the data frame. So how can I do that? PD dot data frame, and then the name is scores I have given. And then I can also give the index. If I want to give, I can give the index also, like maybe name one, right? Name one, name two, and also say, for example, name three, right? Let's see. So I will also assign it. Fine. So let's see whether it is working. Yeah. So instead of this, this is looking good, right? This is looking good. Using data frame, we can create the table this way. Say, for example, I'm writing df1 is equal to df and then this. So now, let me write df1 dot drop. I want to drop, say, for example, name underscore 2, right? I'll show you. So now once I do that, so what I did over here, I actually need this original table. So what I did, I have copied all the observations into df1. I do not want this name to, I'm dropping it. So once I drop it, if I write df1, name 2 should not be there, right? But if you see that name 2 is reappearing, why? What is the mistake here? We should always write in place equal to true, right? So once you do that, you can see, oh, yeah. So once you do that, you can see like, can you see that? Let me run it. What is the mistake here? Name to in place equal to true. Pandas.py data, see the caveats in the documentation. Okay, already I dropped it. 1 minute, let me rerun this. So now you can see that this is actually dropped, right? Name 2. So when you were not writing in place equal to true, it was reappearing. Now it is missing, right? Now it is not there. Ignore this warning, right? So it is working fine. So likewise, we can also drop a specific column. We can also drop a specific row too, right? So in case if I want to drop this particular column, right? Maybe like English. How can I write df1 dot drop? What is the column name? If I write English, you can see that it would be throwing an error, not the warning. It would be throwing an error. It says that in ENG is not found in access. So what is the reason? Because this is actually a column name. So whenever you try to drop column name, you're supposed to write access equal to 1. Axis equal to 0 represent row and axis equal to 1 represent column. But it is not mandatory to write axis equal to 0 because that is by default. That is the reason when I was trying to drop the row, I was not writing axis equal to 0. Perfect. Yeah. So now we also know how to delete row or column. In case if I want to delete multiple columns, how can I do that? Right. So let me show you once again. Let me rerun the code. Right. So in case if I want to drop might be another one, I'm adding ENV. Right. So I'm trying to drop this. I'll show you what is the error now. Drop got multiple values, right? So what are we supposed to do here? Can you see that? So this way we can drop it. But if I write df1 again, it would be reappearing. The reason is I didn't write in place equal to true, right? So if you want to drop it, if you do not want to have it, it is better. So it is throwing again warning. Do not bother about the warning. Okay, fine. So it is getting dropped. In case, okay, so let me take the original frame now. Original data frame is basically DF, right? So what I'm going to take now, let me consider only the data frame. So I'm taking DF. Say I'm writing a DF dot LOC, right? Locate. I want to take only name underscore 3, for example, right? So let's see. You can see that for name 3, you are getting this name 3, you are getting this, right? 71, 96, and 87, right? So this is also possible. So in case if you want to get for multiple, can we do that? Let's try with that. Again, you can see an error here. So in such case, without the second thought, you can immediately do this. Yes, it is working fine. Perfect. I hope this part is clear, right? If you have any question, please put it in the chat so that I would be able to guide you. So in case I have this, if I want to set, for example, this column as the index, will I be able to do it? Yes, I would be able to do this. How can I do that? Say, for example, I want to set this ENV as the index. So df dot set underscore index, I can write which one I want, ENV, and then always we need to write in place equal to true, right? Fine. So let me see. Can you see that this has changed to the index, though it doesn't make sense for this particular data, but you can see that it has been changed to the index, right? If you want, you can create another data and you can try with that. Perfect. So now in case if I want to, I can change it, right? Because I do not actually want this. So what I'm doing, let me write df now. Okay, so let me go back. Okay, so I have this original data frame. So what I'm writing now, df dot, we have already seen LOC, right? So now I'm writing ILOC, right? So let me show you what is happening here. 0, comma, right? So what is happening here? This 0 corresponds to row. So row is 0, right? So this is 0th row, correct? The first one. Name one is the 0th row. This is from first column onwards. This is 0th column. This is first column onwards, right? So we have 1 minute. Let me take my pen. So this stands for row. This stands for column. So 0 corresponds to row. So this is the row. And from first column onwards, this is 0th column. So will not be considered. From first column onwards means 34 and 49. Right? Let me show with another one also to understand it better. So I'm writing 1, comma 2. So 1 means what? 1 stands for row. 2 stands for column. First row means what? This one. It starts from 0, right? Index starts from 0. So 1 and the second column. 0th column, first column, and second column. So which is the one mapping here? So it should be 56. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah, if you have any question, please put it in the chat so that I would be able to help you out. So in case if I'm writing like df.iloc, right? Let me show with something else, 0, comma 1, comma, and I'm also showing something like 2, comma 3. Let's see whether this is working. So now it is throwing positional indexes are out of bounds. Maybe I do not have enough data. So let me try with this 0, comma 1 and 1, comma 2. Right? 0, comma 1 and 1, comma 2. You can see that which are the one it is actually correct. 0, comma 1, 0, comma 1, right? And 1, comma 2. So now in case if I want to add some other column, maybe I'm writing something like language. Okay, so by default, I'm adding something like 80, right? Let's see how this is working. So now you can see that additionally a column is created with a value of 80, right? So I could also add a column here, right? By default, I could add a default value with a default value of 80, right? So this is also possible. But in case if you want to do specifically, that is also possible. Say, for example, I'm writing df.loc. I'm writing like 3. Might be. I'm writing 0. Let's see what is happening now. So can you see that? The third 0, 1, 2, 3, third column is generated with the value what I have given here. In case if I'm specifying like 10, you can see that it is getting changed to 10 also, right? So that is also possible. Or I want to give specific value, something like this, 56 and say 21. So what I can do, let me try whether this is working. So you can see that whatever values I wanted to add it is also working with the help of that, right? So this is working fine, right? So we can set the index. We can also reset the index. We can also do LOC, ILOC. We can add the row. We can delete a row. We can add a column. We can delete a column. We can add a column with a specific values. So whatever data transformation we want to do with the data manipulation or transformation, whatever we want to do, that is actually possible with the help of pandas. So I hope this tutorial helped you to understand the concept of pandas very well. Thank you.